officers who were involved in that raid. There were other officers as part of the narcotics probe that was being launched. The police department, hasn't released its professional standards unit investigation report, and so there's a question if other officers who were connected to what happened to Breonna Taylor could face some sort of repercussions. Is that going to happen?
That's a that's a good question too, and honestly, I got to be straight with you. I don't know. And here's why I don't know. If you asked me on any other case, would it be likely? I'd say absolutely not. In no way is the police department going to help in any kind of cooperation that would lead to more officers being accused, charged, and prosecuted and convicted. They're not going to do it. They usually are covering it up quite a bit. This is not accusation. This is factual if you look at the history. Now, specifically to this department, so far they're doing the right thing. So far they're systematically looking at it, investigating it, um, sharing the information, being transparent, and they are, to the best of their ability that I can see, trying to get something done. They are up against quite a bit of tradition and old school to that normally whitewashes this whole thing. So I can't say honestly what they're going to do with those other officers, but your intuition's great, and that clearly something should be done because it was a team effort. And how do you only have two people accountable right now on what is a huge operation? They always are. It involves a lot of people to get one of those warrants and do one of those, knock and serves. So I don't know.
Joseph, let me go to you. Why now? Why are they being fired now? And could it be because we're just a short time away, a few days away, before Mayor Greg Fisher announces who the permanent police chief will be in Louisville? Is that somehow affecting this as well? I mean, why are these officers being fired now after all this time? Okay, so Joseph, I think we're working on your audio there. Tiffany, I'll go back to you on this question. Again, the timing of this. Why is this happening now?
Well, if we want to be honest, it's probably something political involved. Again, these officers should have been fired when this incident first happened. So, my short answer is it's probably something behind the scenes that is going on that we don't know, that has affected this case and caused for the intent to terminate these two officers.
All right, I think we have Joseph back with us. Joseph, I want to give you an opportunity to jump into here. What's your reaction to this? And again, why do you think this is happening now at this point in the case?
Same reason everybody else thinks it's happening or knows it. It's because it's political. The power structure, the government is dependent upon the voters to stay in power. And so somebody, we know who's making a move to say, look at me. I'm finally doing the right thing with the way we've been running the police department, which is our strong arm branch of the power structure. They want to stay in power. They want to come into power, and they want to use this as a way to say, hey, we're on board with everybody else. Better question to ask is, why wait so long? Why not 5 years ago? Why not train the officers? Why not do it 10 years ago? Why you've been systematically training them to act in this way for decades? When we start asking those questions, now more people will be held accountable. There'll be more change.
Joseph, I want to stick with you for a second because there's an interesting aspect of this. Let's start with, let's just focus right now on Cosgrove firing that bullet. You're going to have a termination hearing to where, it's ultimately happens that he'll be terminated because of this. But yet at the same point, the AG said that this was a justifiable use of force. So how do you have this where he's being fired for it, and yet the highest lawman in the state is saying what he did was okay?
Well, the highest lawman in the state didn't get there without his complete commitment of being a company man. All right. That is what has been going on for decades, where the government whitewashes everything that their strong arm department does and say it's okay. Finally, someone's willing, and it appears it's lower down the chain, to stand up and say, we need change. We cannot keep doing this. Clearly, the officers acted wrong. Clearly, they violated policy. Clearly, they violated laws. Now we're finally going to see some people finally have enough courage to go against their power structure and say, you know what? we can't have this continue to go on. So the reason why they whitewashed it up on the top is because that's what they always do. But keep in mind this key: the police lobbying, or if you will, the union that they have, is incredibly strong, very. And so they are oftentimes behind what happens to the officer or what does not happen. So that's why they're going to have this hearing, because the union's at play here as well. And that's a powerful entity as also.